Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Nate.
Mitch is stalking me, and I have proof.
Would it be this podcast?
I'm not going to tell you. I have proof.
And Lisa.
I can't even remember a single line from this movie.
Oh, that doesn't bode well.
It didn't feel like there was that much dialogue. A lot of action.
Feels like the screenwriter was invisible in this one.
Oh goodness. Well, welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, where each week we take a look at a different horror movie and debate a horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim, who's usually someone we would not consider a horror fan. So this week we are, we're looking at a remake of a classic. This was the 2020 year-end survey winner. The people spoke, and they wanted us to talk about 2020's The Invisible Man.
Sorry, I thought you were introducing me and not The Invisible Man. Oh, sorry about that.
How do I mute you on this? Yes. I know. So Nate, welcome back. We missed you last week. We got a comment on Twitter, I think, asking if I banned you from the show because you won.
Look.
It's what I appreciate about that though is that it's not that I'm not that petty. I'm absolutely that petty. I just didn't. I was lazy. My laziness trumps my pettiness.
Okay, got it. Well, look, I was not on the podcast for 1 week, and that was one of the craziest, worst weeks ever, just in general. So I think that me not being on the podcast caused that. So now that I'm back,
you mean in general, not
great order.
You just mean in general outside the pod, not that the podcast was the.
Take it however you want.
You bastard. All right, well. Well, welcome back. That was
really ingratiated myself right in the beginning.
There you go. That was your
slide right in. Perfect.
I have a note from HR saying you've used up your allotment of vacation days for the year, so I hope it was
awesome,
worth it.
It was. I drove 18 hours in a car with a 2-year-old. Fantastic.
That's a way to spend it.
I could have turned into an Invisible Man during that. That actually would have been sweet. Oh, I'm not here. Can't bother me.
Oh my God. Well, look, we've got a lot to talk about in this week's episode. Again, you the people, you asked for it, and we're here to deliver. So before we get into the review, let's of course do our debate question of the week.
Bid our father, the Sea King, rise from the depths full foul in his fury. Black waves teeming with salt foam to smother this young mouth with pungent slime.
Lisa, it's still here.
2021, still.
I'm just not even going to acknowledge it anymore.
Like the Chinese have a thing, like an animal kind of representation for each year, right? 2021 is the year, I don't know, the rat or something. But I feel like every year is now the year of the Willem for the podcast, right? Like it's like the sea. It's just immovable, unchangeable.
I feel like, okay, so this is really bizarre. Okay, kung fu styles are usually like the animal styles. If we're gonna really just go down this thread,
love it.
So there's like the tiger and crane, and
monkey style, sure.
Three-toed sloth style, all those things.
I don't know if that's one.
What if if this show were a kung fu style, what if our animal styles are Nick Cage and Willem Dafoe style?
Oh, I like that.
It's a lot of screaming, a lot of cussing.
Yeah, a lot of scream, banshee style. Yeah.
A lot of weird accents that no one asked for. No one's listening to this podcast to hear us make the accents that we do.
I love the Elmo. So that's
the Elmo, the Sean Connery, Mike Grover is coming along real well.
Oh, okay. Shit, we got new ones. All right.
They're a lot of them are Sesame Street. A lot of them not great.
Lisa, what is your accent? What is your impersonation that you bring to the table here?
I don't know. That's a good question. Mitch, do I do one?
I don't know. If I had to guess, it's probably some Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry. Okay. I'll go to you.
But you just quote that a lot. That's the only reason why I think of that. That's not necessarily that you're doing impressions. Just I have to think. What would be an impression you could do, Lisa?
There's that singer you like, the deadpan
Jennifer
face.
Love Hewitt.
No, God, no. What is her name? That's gonna bother me.
Do you want to know something? My wife and I.
You mean
my son?
You mean Poppy?
A Poppy.
Yeah.
Poppy.
You did do it pretty good.
Look up Poppy if you haven't seen her, Nate.
Show me a Poppy.
She basically talks like this. She says, "My name is Poppy. Today, I'm on Texas Podcast Massacre. If I hear that drop one more time, I think I'm going to kill you."
Nailed it. All right.
Yeah, that pretty impressive.
Poppy kill stockings over here. Wow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No, Mitch, I gotta tell you though, on the drive back, it was a long drive in the car, and my son was asleep, but my wife and I were awake, and we did listen to 2 tracks from Jennifer Love Hewitt's discography.
Why?
No joke.
Was this like a Pandora Spotify recommendation?
No, I put it on purposefully.
Well,
and what did your wife think?
It was very average. It wasn't very good. She thought it was
surprise.
She was like, it's something. Like, all right. Not bad.
It is something.
There you go. If our friends from Why I Hate This Album listening, get that Jennifer Love Hewitt album.
Yes,
sure.
I'm tweeting out.
All right. Yeah. None of this is a debate. We have just been talking. So Nate, what?
The debate question. Okay. So look, I'm gonna pull together. Give me the Glenn Beck chalkboard, but I'm gonna pull together a couple items here for my debate question. 1, Leigh Whannell, who is the director of this film, was the co-writer and actor from Saw. So he was the one who was with
Cary Elwes.
Cary Elwes in that room, Lisa, in Saw, the first Saw, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
So he's the one who lost the key in the beginning, and so him and James Wan, wrote the movie together. All right, so that's him. So I was thinking, okay, so he's in Saw. Well, Jigsaw, we all know, is Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. And then I got to thinking, okay, well, what if Kevin McAllister had the invisible man suit or invisible boy suit, I guess, and he was playing pranks on people? Tell me your prank you'd pull, let's just say on Mitch. So what prank are you going to pull on Mitch, Lisa, if you had an invisible person suit? That took a long time to get there.
That's a good one.
Wouldn't that be a good one?
I don't agree, but
like the pranks in this movie are like, oh, I'm just gonna like make you burn your food. Okay, start out small. I'm going to send a hilarious email from your account that you don't realize.
That was hilarious.
No, I'm saying, but you could. You could turn it into a more fun, lighthearted, thing rather than saying, I never want to see you again, my only sister. And then obviously there's some murders. There's some child punching. We could keep it a little lighter, but I was thinking, what if we made pranks out of this? Because you could do some amazing pranks if you have.
I think it would definitely I'd have to save it for around Halloween time.
Okay.
Because
you're gonna scare kids. You're gonna scare kids coming.
No, I'm gonna scare Mitchell. Because we watch horror movies for the podcast all year long. But October is like, and you're the same way, Nate. It's like 10 horror movies a day for the whole freaking month. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a glorious time of the year.
That's the month I needed to start taking off and like going on vacation.
So your prank is just like, Mitch is like, where's Lisa? I'm trying to get her to watch this horror movie.
Lisa's prank is she's just not there. She's just gone.
No, I think if he didn't know, then it would be October. I'd have to break out the suit and just start like randomly moving things around the house.
Okay. Like what? Give me a specific example here.
I don't know. I'm trying to think what would actually scare Mitch. Nothing scares him.
This is true.
I don't know. That I have to think on, but it would be something. I mean, either like just levitating things in the house, or if I crank the heat up really high, then I think he'd get scared because, you know,
I get scared. I get pissed. Heat. It's hot.
See,
I don't know.
You just keep raising the temperature. He changes it, and you just change it back.
I'll tell you the problem. I'll tell you the problem
with
levitating shit is that that assumes that I'm observant enough to notice.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'll move things around the house. You'll just think that's where it was to begin with.
At least I don't need your help misplacing things. Clearly, I know how to do that on my own.
Love it. All right, I got one. So I'm also tormenting Mitch. But mine is, I am going to take things that you need and put them in your attic. Just over and over and over again. I am going to get you to hate the attic.
It just seems really convenient.
Fun fact, Nate, he won't go looking for them.
Hold on.
Guess who's going to have to look for them?
No. If one piece of his drum kit is gone, in the attic.
Have either of y'all ever played a prank on anyone before? Because I have serious doubts.
What would you do then?
I'm hiding things in the attic until you're just like, oh my God, the attic is fucking possessed. And then
what are you going to do?
And I go, you admitted it. And I can actually hear you talking out loud and deliberating out loud. Like, oh my God, is this the attic being messed up? I just start
living in the attic. If everything's going to be just up there. Plus, wouldn't that be worse for you? Because you would have to go into the attic over and over again, Nate. I don't know that that's as hard on me as it is for you.
It'd be worth it to see your love of attics come tumbling down. Just like in this actual movie. That's exactly what happens. We'll get into that. This movie's very anti-attic.
Well, there's no basement. So if they had a basement, it'd be in the basement.
Anti-attic. But I'm going to use my invisibility to get you to hate attics. Wow. We really... With great power comes no responsibility, is the moral of this story. All right, Mitch, what are you picking?
If I was going to prank myself?
How would you get Lisa?
If I had an invisibility suit, I was going to prank Lisa.
So
be careful, Mitch.
But imagine how warm that attic's going to be when Lisa turns up the heat while I'm hiding everything in your attic. I might be sweating through the suit at this point. I don't know how this is going to work.
Start malfunctioning if you sweat? Because
I know, maybe.
If you not sweating is a deal breaker and wearing this suit, then it's a non-starter for me. It's just off the table entirely.
That's why they're in San Francisco in this movie.
Right?
Not much.
Shit doesn't work. Shit doesn't work in Houston. Oh man, what would I do as a prank? So for Lisa, man, what would get you, Lisa? I'm trying to think.
Tell me what would get you so I can use this in the future. What?
No, I'm not saying anything. Mitchell, be nice.
I mean, look, if I'm going to prank someone, I'm going to go like the scare you route, right? It's not going to be like a Jim and Dwight situation.
Okay.
It's going to be more a scare for Lisa. I mean, it's going to be random noises throughout the house in the middle of the night. It's going to be.
What if you tried to convince her that Damien was actually like possessed or like was actually like the Antichrist?
What's that? It's like that's what's that? I would do shit like that scene in Simpsons with where they're at the funeral and Lisa goes over to the aunt or whatever, the great aunt, and she's like, "I wish we had more time to know each other." And then her voice goes, "Don't worry about it," and she like runs out of the thing screaming, and it's Bart. That's the shit I would do.
That is what you would do.
I would be throwing my voice.
Oh, do some. Okay, that.
I'd be
would
doing my
amazing.
impressions, but yeah, like little Elmo doll just starts talking.
Yeah, but if you do Elmo, she knows it's you.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I have other impressions, Nate. Yes, the Elmo is the one I'm willing to. Everyone on here knows.
Okay, hidden impressions. Okay, well, you're holding back.
But you're just think about that though. You're just sitting in the living room. All the toys are still kind of out. And all of a sudden, just in the corner.
No, stop. That's not nice.
Like it's
nice.
Don't make me destroy our children's toys. Not nice.
Little Woody, you've got a friend in me as a demon,
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna ruin children's things. All right. I like it.
Well, there's a lot of that around the house right now. So this is
Nice. I like it. Okay.
All right.
Wow.
How I would prank you, I have no idea. But
no idea.
Honestly, with you, I'd probably just like wedgie you or something real like high school bullshit.
Wedgie?
I would just sneak up behind you and just like pant you and run off. That would basically not a lot of thought to you. I just something that's super effective. Just strike you quick and run.
That's so stupid. Probably effective.
Oh, very effective.
Wow.
You're gonna stay there.
All right.
Yeah, just done.
This one we can go out to places like you're gonna follow me in the car and you're just gonna like stay in the car for a while.
No one's in the car. You can't even see me in the car. Just a driverless car following you. Yeah, that will be fucking suspicious.
I check my rear view quite a bit. So I might catch you. I don't know. That would be awesome. The Invisible Car. It's a good sequel. All right. Nice.
Invisible Car. It's Wonder Woman's next transportation.
James Bond car. Yeah, wow.
Right,
okay.
So, all right. Well, you let us know. How would you prank your friends? How would you prank us? Let us know so we can be prepared. You can tell us at TexasPodcastMassacre@gmail.com, TXPodMassacre on Twitter, and Texas Podcast Massacre everywhere else. All right, guys. I'm excited. We actually saw this movie before sort of the lockdown all really happened.
It's the last movie you saw in the theater.
Yes. So Lisa had not watched it until now. So I am dying to hear what she thought of this week's movie of the week, The Invisible Man.
What happened to him?
Adrian's dead.
Listen, you're getting your freedom back, okay?
He said that wherever I went, he would find me, walk right up to me, and I wouldn't be able to see him. Adrian is dead. He's not dead. He has figured out a way to be invisible.
Are you okay?
He's sitting in that chair. Where are you? Show yourself!
Surprise. Let me help you.
You can't help me. Surprise.
Look, Nate, I know you're dying to jump into the attic thing, and I just have to say from watching the trailer, why did he not have a ladder into the attic to begin with? Like most attics have a pre-built ladder, but they had to use the nice one she bought. That's already sus. I mean, if I'm being honest,
so this isn't proper attic etiquette or something. What are you?
Well,
what are you talking about here?
that's already a red flag if the attic is not properly maintained. I mean,
yeah, because no one wants to go up there because it's terrifying.
Oh my god! All right, well, look, the Invisible Man, Lisa, as our unsuspecting victim. How would you describe this movie? What is the elevator pitch for what the Invisible Man is about?
It's a movie about a woman who's trying to get out of an abusive relationship, but somehow, no matter where she goes or what he does, he seems to be there.
Are you talking about the podcast or?
I mean,
you made me watch horror movies all this time.
For years.
Lisa's got to go bag somewhere. You right? You have a go bag at event somewhere in this house.
Don't worry about it, Nate.
Jesus.
Awesome.
Well, this is fun. Nate, what can you tell us? What can you tell us about this movie?
Invisible Man came out February 28th, 2020. And we saw it like the next weekend, right? I think.
Something
we
like
saw
that,
it like
yeah.
a week after. Yeah. And that was the last time was in a theater, unfortunately. This movie is 2 hours and 4 minutes. Doesn't feel that long. It's a tight 124. Rated R production company, so it's Universal movie. It's the the Invisible Man is Universal property, and Blumhouse helped make it. On IMDb, it is it's a solid 7.1, which is pretty good for a horror film. The box office for this one was, I believe, $7 million, and worldwide it made $143 million. So that's a classic Blumhouse, make a ton of money on a low budget horror film. And then this was like one of the first movies like this. Was it The Hunt? And like another one that was like the first, like, hey, you want to spend $20 to watch this right away because movie theaters are closed. And I'm sure it made a bunch of money there because it was a really good movie. So this movie did great. There is a sequel in the works, or not a sequel, but another movie in the Invisible franchise. It's The Invisible Woman that is going to star and be directed by Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, interesting.
So that is probably coming out sooner rather than later. So Elizabeth Moss is gone, and it is Elizabeth Banks. So not terrible. Have you guys seen any of the original Invisible Person movies?
No.
I've seen parts of the original. I know I've seen the really bad one with, what was it, Kevin Bacon? Or
that was Hollow Man. That's not
what's
part
the
of it.
it's the same. It is the same movie.
No. That was like, there was like a scientific experiment. There's a lot of centrifuges in that movie, but no, that was Hollow Man. The reason for that is because between 1951's Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man and 2020, there was no Invisible Man movies. So that's why Hollow Man just nicely slid in there. It was the early 2000s, I think. But there was The Invisible Man with Claude Rains. The Invisible Man Returns got my boy Vincent Price. Those two are pretty good. The first one especially. I think the first one probably pioneered about, I don't know, a dozen or so camera effects that then became because you're like, this person's invisible and it's 1933. What are we going to do here? And they made up a bunch of really cool shit, which is amazing. There's The Invisible Agent. That's right. There's an invisible spy movie. The Invisible Man's Revenge. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. That one has Vincent Price. And then Abbott and Costello meet the Invisible Man. That one's got Claude Rains. Abbott and Costello got around. They met pretty much everybody in the Universal canon. They met Dracula. They met the Mummy. They met everybody. So, yeah. And then 2020 is Invisible Man, and then Invisible Woman whenever that comes out.
Sorry,
So
I just saw a user review for Hollow Man, and the first line is "Hollow Man is a ride, baby."
That's
It's so bad. Anyway.
That movie was terrible.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. The last Hollow Man reference I'll make in this episode.
Yes,
I promise.
Elizabeth Shue in Hollow Man. And then there's also like three TV shows that I found. One in like the late 50s, one in the 70s, and one in the early 2000s that I did not know had existed. So there's that. There's a guy, and the guy I'd never seen him before, but he kind of looks a little bit like Conan O'Brien. So imagine Conan O'Brien as the Invisible Man, because that's what I'm gonna do. So Leigh Whannell is the director of this. Leigh Whannell, the director of previous episode Upgrade. Upgrade's getting a TV show.
Oh, nice.
So Blumhouse is doing an Upgrade.
Is that in fact an upgrade or a downgrade?
We will have to see when it comes out. It's in pre-production. He directed Insidious 3. We've done 1 and 2 where he was Specs, but not 3. Obviously, he was in the first Saw movie as well and co-wrote that. And he is doing a Wolfman movie with Ryan Gosling. So the Wolfman in another Universal movie with Ryan Gosling. And he's also doing the remake of Escape from New York. So doing pretty well for himself. Elizabeth Moss is obviously Cecilia. She was in previous episode Us, in horror TV show The Handmaid's Tale. She is a really good actress, is in all kinds of projects. But yeah, seems like she's leaning into a little bit more horror recently, and she's real good. So keep doing it. We got Oliver Jackson Cohen. He was in Haunting of Hill House, then he was in Invisible Man, then he was in Haunting of Bly Manor. So he's leaning into the horror as well. We got Aldous Hodge in the director commentary. Yes, I own the Blu-ray, so check that off your list. Nate owns the Blu-ray. And in the director commentary, Leigh Whannell was like, this dude should be in the Marvel universe because he's like jacked and he's a really nice guy and he's really talented. Well, he is going to be Hawkman in the Black Adam movie with The Rock, apparently, in the Marvel universe. I have no idea the words I just said, but I am reading them. I do not know anything about them. He's going to be in a movie that's coming out very shortly called One Night in Miami. That looks really good. So there's that. He was in 2K19. That's right. He was one of the characters in the NBA 2K series story modes, of which they are terrible. So he's done that. He's done that. He was in one of my favorite TV shows, Leverage. Lisa, you seem like you'd like Leverage. Have you seen Leverage?
What's it about?
Oh, God. Okay. So you got basically a Robin Hood thief crew in modern times. Okay. You got a hacker. So he's the hacker. So Aldous Hodge is the hacker. Timothy Hutton is the mastermind guy. You got a con woman. You got the person who's real good, like the Chinese dude in Ocean's 11. But she's like a really skinny blonde girl instead. But she's like the aerial, getting the tight spots person. Yeah. And you got a dude who just beats people up.
Interesting.
Leverage. I like Leverage way too much. All right. So there's that. And then in this movie, so like I said, I did the director commentary, so we'll get into tons of it. But what about this tagline? What you can't see can hurt you.
Oh, I like that.
What about that? That's a good one.
I like that.
That's a real good one.
It's not often we come across a good tagline, but that one's a good one.
Fantastic. Everything about this movie is very well done and well thought out. The movie was filmed in Australia. but it takes place in San Francisco, but it was filmed in Australia. And Leigh Whannell went into in minute detail how he made things look like America. He's like, yeah, we had a mailbox sent from America because the mailboxes are different here. Like to find pine trees, we had to go to a pine tree farm. There's like one of them.
And that was still cheaper than filming in, I guess so.
I don't know. And then I guess they did film like some scenes, and then they had to get a helicopter and they filmed it around San Francisco. But yeah, basically it was filmed in Australia. So yeah, there you go. A lot more about it, but crazy. I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and start out. Crazy good movie.
Now, Nate, a question for you, because I'm assuming you came across this. So I know Universal was trying to do the Dark Universe series.
Yes.
And that's why was this originally part of that, or did they change? Was this like done before all that came up, or? So
there was a version of this going back to 2006 that they were going to do. There actually was a Dark Universe before this, the Dark Universe that had, I don't know if you ever saw Dracula Untold.
I remember it coming out.
But that was in 2014. That was actually going to be kind of the start of their Universal reboot, and that did terribly. And then they did The Mummy, obviously, with Tom Cruise. And that was supposed to then hook it up. Johnny Depp was supposed to be the Invisible Man.
Really?
Yeah. And so then Mummy didn't do well.
Were they gonna hire Amber Heard to be the main lead in this? Oh.
Yikes. I don't know anything about that, but yikes. So anyway, so then that did terribly. And they're like, let's just make separate movies with these really cool properties that we have that haven't been used in a long time, and give some, like some smaller movies, give them some run. And then obviously Leigh Whannell cranked it out of the park. Johnny Depp being the Invisible Man just seems absolutely terrible. It sounds like Hollow Man 2. I believe there was a Hollow Man 2. Because that's something I know. Hold on. There was a Hollow Man 2,
yeah.
In 2006. Of course there was. I guarantee you I did see that movie for sure. I'm terrible. This would be Hollow Man 3 with Johnny Depp. So I'm glad they did not do that. But yeah, this was kicking around for a while, but I'm glad they waited because this is a real good film. Lisa, I want to hear your thoughts on this because you hadn't seen it until just now for the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on this? What scary? Was it scary?
It was really good.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It was really scary. I kind of even got spoiled by the ending. And even knowing that, it was still very scary. I just, I'm not a fan of my covers just randomly flying off my bed and my breakfast. If you burn my breakfast, it's over. Okay.
Oh, it's okay. That, seriously. Wow. It's so early on. You're just like, I'm out.
Yeah. Come on now. You don't mess with breakfast. That's the most important meal of the day.
Oh my God.
So it was good. It was good. It was very well done. But yeah, it was scary. I guess it's unsuspecting victim friendly. It's minimal on gore. If you're, I don't even know how to say it.
It's more of a psychological.
It is. It's more psychological, / supernatural / yeah.
Well, so that was my question. Is you don't like ghosts? You're not a big ghost.
No, I'm not a ghost.
Ghost-like things are happening, but it's not a ghost. So what did that do for you?
Oh, it was awful.
Okay, so it was like it was a ghost, but it wasn't a ghost.
It was the worst. It was just the absolute worst.
Okay, we need to do more Invisible movies. Where's Hollow?
No,
is Hollow Man on the list now? Hollow Man?
No, thank you.
That one's not
like. I told Mitch, I was trying to pay close attention to everything because I knew things were going to happen in the background. By the way, tell me again who you just said directed this.
Leigh Whannell. Yeah.
I hate Leigh Whannell. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The freaking cuts where the camera is on Elizabeth Moss and then just really slowly pans over to this dark, empty fucking hallway. And they're really slow. I was like, God damn it, stop doing that.
He talked about it. He's
This
like,
is
I want to
really
play.
creepy.
He was talking like, I want to play with people's expectations because normally when a camera goes somewhere, it's because something's happening.
Something happens.
But in this movie, there's just open spaces, and he's like, I'm trying to build tension.
It was
I'm not sure
the
if it's
worst.
working. Yeah.
And I know you guys can't see me on video, but I'm like shaking it off because it was the worst. It was awful.
Yeah.
We'll tell him. We're like, look, you made our co-host upset.
Yeah, Elisa throughout most of the movie was just going, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. In fact, I think I even made a post on Twitter about it. I'm like, yeah, the whole movie. And then, oh man, and there were several times, Lisa, you audibly gasped out loud, like.
Well, because you have to pay really, really close attention or you're going to miss subtle things like the breakfast scene. And I know we're kind of diving in, but let's go for it. There's one point, she's escaped this psychopath's house. As far as we know, she's moved in with this cop friend of her sister's. Very sweet man to take her in, by the way, especially with his daughter living there too. And she's like, all right, it's going to be a great day. We're going to cook some breakfast and we're going to have a great day. And then she walks away to wake her friend's daughter up. And if you're not watching, you miss the knife getting pulled off the counter. And it's like, I blinked and I told Manchester, where did the knife go? Rewind it. I missed it. So it's the little things
on the
like
flame
that
getting hotter on the
that it just kind of start building up and you're like, oh, this is not good.
the
Lisa cannot get over this breakfast. She's like, how dare you, sir?
And you know why? Because they specifically show the pan and they show the bacon and the egg sizzling. And I'm like, that looks so delicious. Like, I want that for breakfast tomorrow morning.
They subverted breakfast for you, yeah.
And they ruined it. And now what is that poor girl going to eat before she goes to school? Okay, I'm a mom who has kids who go to school now, okay? I got to feed these children in the morning. I do not appreciate my hard-earned breakfast going to waste, okay? That was supposed to feed my children.
I tell you how
we need a tag, does the breakfast die? We need
yes.
that. Does the dog die? Does the kid die? Does the breakfast die?
I know what I'm not doing is my prank against Lisa if I have that sit, and that's messing with her breakfast.
All the food's burned, all of it.
Don't you do it, Mitchell? I'll kick you out of the house.
But I'll tell you this: one of the things that
you can't kick out what you can't see. No, sorry.
One of the things that works so well for this movie, is the fact that you just jump right into it. There's no backstory. There's no lead up to it. You are thrown into this like very tense escape sequence that somehow is, very tense and is very frantic, but also takes forever. Like the pacing of it is so well done in terms of building up tension. You're sitting here going, get your ass out the house, go, and I know you saw this dog, Nate, with the shot collar. And I know you were like, just leave the damn dog. I know you.
Leave the dog.
And it wasn't a dog. It was her butt bumping the car that set off the
because
alarm.
of the dog. There's no dog. There'd been no car bump. Sacrifice the dog. It's too late for the dog. It's over.
Poor Zeus.
You know what I like about this movie is there's no flashbacks.
Yeah, it does. And
it happens while it's happening. Love it.
Yeah.
And it just
more movies do that, please.
It reminds me of So when I went, one of my favorite movies, we haven't done it yet, The Ring. When I went to see it for the very first
episode
time,
200 is coming up. Episode
right.
200, Lisa.
When I went to see it, one of the reasons why
That's a big nope.
it was so good for me was that when the theater I was in, I don't know if they were just behind or what had happened, but it went straight to the film. There were no trailers. There was no lead up. The lights just cut and you're just, wait, is this the movie? Like I thought, I didn't know if I was watching the trailer or what was going on. And it was it. That's what this movie does so effectively. And I wish more horror movies just did that. Just jump right in, you get going, let you sort of learn it. I don't know. It's really good.
So most movies will do that. You'll jump in and be like, "Oh, what?" And then it's like 6 days earlier. I'm like, "Fuck off!"
Then
Fuck
it's a million years of exposition.
I hate that. This movie is the antithesis of that, and I love it.
And it works. It's so good. But yeah, so after she does make the harrowing escape, which, man, that's a nice house. I just, it's
so it's actually 4 houses.
Oh, is it?
So the interior shots are 4 different houses.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, they're all gorgeous.
Yeah, everything looks great. That Mitch, that lab with like the lights in the ceiling and stuff. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was actually someone's garage.
Oh, nice.
They had the lights in the ceiling already. I'm like, how do you find, and who is the amazing person who has that light garage?
Yeah.
And also they have a lot of cars because that was a huge garage.
Yes.
That looked awesome. Everything is, the detail is very well done in this whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything looks great.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things, obviously one of the things about this movie is just watching her just try to get back to sort of normalcy. Adrian, she gets told that Adrian dies. She's finally able to sort of make it out of the house. She's been basically for 2 weeks, like hadn't even left the house basically. Now she finally can. So we're starting to see that
she got the get out run by, the creepy get out run by.
Yeah. Yeah.
The person's running right past her. It's like, now that it's like the COVID stuff, when you're going running like that, give them a little more space, but this is pre that. So, just run up, 2 inches from someone. Sure. Why not? That was that scary, Lisa? Like, did Leigh Whannell get you on that, on the run by? Okay.
No,
okay.
not on, no, but I could feel where she was coming from. Because, it's a perfect example, Nate. In COVID times, you go on and maintain your distance. And as soon as someone gets closer, you're like, whoa, like, back it up. Just 6 feet. Come on. So I felt where she was coming from, but that didn't get me.
Okay. The camera panning to the blank spaces, though. Threw a couple things at you.
Absolute worst.
It was so well done. Watching this again, I did
very well
it.
done.
Yeah.
So we see her getting kind of pranked, right? Like, I mean, she goes for a job interview. All of her sketches and design work and portfolio is just missing. Things are just kind of weird. Things are happening. It's not until you get to the night scene where she's in the bed with her cop friend's daughter. They're sleeping, and the blanket gets pulled off, and there's that creepy ass mannequin that's just sitting there, which, I mean, look, I get it. She's a fashion student, but maybe put that crap away.
Yeah, mannequins are just horror fuel there.
Right.
Always. They're always horror fuel.
Little tourist trap homage.
Tourist trap, Halloween remake, mannequins are the worst.
Yeah. I mean, Lisa, talk me through this scene. She's pulling the blanket back onto the bed, and then it stops moving with her.
So I'm telling you, this movie was a lot scarier, and it was really good, but it is very scary. The more I think about it, the more it may not be unsuspecting victim friendly, because it's pretty bad.
If you want a good scare, this one's it, because this movie is a little bit longer than a lot of our entries, and a lot of times I feel like we talk about how, man, this movie probably need to be a little bit shorter, a little bit more tight. This one somehow uses every minute of that 2 hours and 4 to just squeeze the tension the entire movie. There are very few moments in this movie where you are kind of at ease.
That's very true. So getting to that scene you were talking about, so her pulling the blanket didn't screw with me as much as him pulling the blanket off of her.
That one got you
just
more?
Just that slow pull off of the bed. No one waking up and realizing the blanket's gone.
The pictures.
Yeah. It was not good. Yeah. And I don't know if I don't blame her, because this is terrifying. But if she's pulling the blanket back and she sees footsteps, I mean, that's when you just start kicking thin air. You're just like, what's
You
there.
throw the blanket on it toward
well,
it.
she
and
tried.
Then
She tried. She threw the blanket on the chair, right? But he wasn't there. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll give her this. Throughout the entire movie, she did a really great job at figuring out how in the heck am I going to catch this psychopath. She never gave up. There wasn't any point in the movie where she's like, you know what? Forget it. Just, I'm in the insane asylum now. It's over. She's like, no, I'm getting him. And that was the thing I told Mitch, because Mitch was like, we were watching it late at night. And he's like, maybe we should finish it tomorrow in the light of day. I was like, no. I got to see this through. I got to see this ending, because now I'm just angry.
Well, because I mean, can you think of a final girl that goes through more and worse shit? Like, there's a point in this movie.
Yes.
There's a point in this movie, the restaurant scene. At that point, I'm like, man, if that were me, I'd just be, fuck it. Just fuck this. I'm out.
That was bad.
like, what can you do? It's.
I would say maybe like The Descent was worse.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's psychologically, this is
but I think with The Descent,
high up there.
The Descent, I wouldn't have put myself in that situation.
We're not going on a spelunking trip,
right?
This year,
Which is, I mean, obviously, yeah, you can say that about any of this, but this one even not so much. You just end up in a shitty relationship, and then
I wrote in my notes about that grease fire that teenager is like the most safety conscious teenager of all time. You never use water on a grease fire.
Oh yeah.
You use salt.
Oh yeah, she did a great job.
She's ready.
Salt, or you use a fire extinguisher. Fantastic. Loved that. But then she got punched in the face by the Invisible Man. So that didn't go.
Yeah, so
that
okay.
didn't go
So
super great.
Lisa, talk about this as the slap, which not the
Which
TV
was a
show.
TV show. The slap.
Let's talk about the slap.
Can we review the slap?
So bad for her, because she was being so nice. She's like, let's have a girls' night because clearly you got issues. And then she just gets slapped so hard. And her mind can't reconcile what happened, right? So she's like, I mean, Elizabeth Moss is the only person in here. She must have slapped me, even though she never gets up off the floor. It's just the most confusing scene.
It had to be like a Stretch Armstrong punch or something.
And I really feel like that is the one scene I feel like where Elizabeth Moss underreacted. Because if that happened, I feel like I would have started just taking and throwing stuff where the punch came from, be like, what's there?
But then does she have plausible deniability of slapping her if she's just like punching the air randomly?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, probably
Sorry.
not.
I was just training for some sparring next week. Out of the house.
Was this scene inspired by the Slap TV show, which, Nate, was an Australian TV show first?
Yes, I know. The Australians really got to tighten it.
I'm gonna after we get that recording, I'm gonna
there.
watch the opening of the Slap.
You just want to see the slap. You don't care about any of the fallout. I just want to see this. What did we do a Freaky Friday over the New Year? What happened here? Why are you the one bringing this up? I have no idea.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, yeah, the slap's bad. I mean, it's just like, ooh.
So we used to do a thing. We used to do a thing at work where I used to
slap
work
someone.
In an area, no. Or we use an area like in the cube kind of office setting, and if someone leave their computer unlocked, we would go on their email and send an email to everybody. One time we said a guy was like, I am quitting and I'm going to move to Chicago to be in the third rate run of Cats. And then there was we sent a picture with like Mephistopheles from Cats. It was fantastic. Like you get an email every once in a while going, hey man, I'm going to buy you guys all lunch. No take backs. And it's like, oh, cool. Sweet. And then they have to buy a lunch. This is the not way to do that. Just sneak onto someone's email and go, hey sister, I've had a fraught relationship with because I'm being abused so much. I never want to see you again.
Oh, I hope you die. I wish you were the one that dies. Let's not forget that little tidbit.
That is rough. That was some rough stuff. What a well-crafted email. This guy is a true sociopath. No feelings for
now.
This
Do you
whatsoever.
think so, Lisa? I know you were spoiled. Nate, I mean, I don't know. I don't think at any point I thought there was a ghost. Like, do you think anyone came in here thinking
it's called the Invisible Man? Maybe if you didn't know what was going on, although the opening title card with the Invisible Man in the water was super cool. Also, you can't miss Invisible Man on this.
That's what
you show up 10 minutes late and you're just like, oh, is this guy's ghost haunting that? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe if you showed up 10 minutes late, you might be able to figure that would be the case.
the invisible thing, you know?
Yeah. I guess the Invisible Man could just be like, that could have been, Patrick Swayze in Ghost. I guess he was invisible the whole time. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, then it ramps up. Obviously there's an attic scene that's terrifying because it's in the attic. Just a flashlight.
Yeah, he's been living in the attic.
Finding knives. You're finding your portfolio. You're getting drugged.
One knife. Let's be
one knife. You only get one knife. And then she's got drugged. That was before he knew she was pregnant. He was in the house when she heard pregnant. I guess never use speakerphone if you're concerned there's an invisible person around. Just so you don't get the information. A lot of it starts ramping up, but we really got to talk about. And then they fight. She steals one of the suits. It's a suit with cameras, kind of like the car in Die Another Day, James Bond.
Yep.
Where it's invisible because it's showing the picture behind it with a jillion cameras, which is somewhat plausible in a sci-fi way, not terrible. Upgrade-esque, I guess. But the scene, Lisa, what did you think about the scene in the restaurant with her sister? I mean, we got this is the scene of the movie. Well, there's two scenes. The one is the fight scene in the kitchen.
Yeah, the kitchen fight scene is so good. Her lifting up off the floor and into the wall. It's so good.
So I watched the feature. I watched the featurette, and they really went into that scene. So there was like harnesses lifting her up. There was a green suited stunt person, doing the choke move, and then they had a robotic camera on a timer. So Mitch, you'll appreciate this in your Ableton light show for your live performances thing. So they programmed the camera to go certain places at certain times. So the actors had to act out the scene exactly perfect. And they did it twice. One with the stunt person, one without. Then they cut it back and forth together. But the camera, and so actually, Mitch, and you'll love this. So while that scene was happening, it was actually a metronome counting out.
Oh, really?
It was almost like a dance, dance steps, and and 2 and 3. But it was 1, click.
Hit your mark
2,
here.
Click.
Hit your mark there.
But it was a robot voice, which is even more creepy. 1, click. 2, click. 3, click. And they're acting. And then she's getting choke slammed.
Is there
6, click, 7, click. So they had to choreograph it out because the camera was on a timer, a certain pattern on a timer. That's
really cool.
And they couldn't deviate. Normally I think camera people would,
follow the action
and follow it and recenter, and whatever they do, they just follow them in there because they're really good. But they couldn't do that with this. So that was kind of awesome.
Yeah. I want to hear Lisa's comments about the restaurant, but I'm just curious. I can't think of a different actress than Elizabeth Moss who could have pulled any of this movie off.
So good. She's too good.
All right. I'm blanking on
that was actress. A subtle dig at Elizabeth Banks because she's going to be the Invisible Woman now. Ooh.
I don't know what that movie's going to be. So to be fair, Elizabeth, not to say her movie's not going to be good, but man, Elizabeth Moss has the market on oppressed, battered women. Between Handmaid's Tale, the Mad Men, and this just
Pitch Perfect 4. You get a soprano level opera singer, real good, into their college thing. Put the invisible person suit on, and just like Mitch was saying, to throw your voice, you throw the voice and let them win the championship. Pitch Perfect 4.
I feel like I'd use it to really mess it up. Throw someone that's off key. Take out your competition.
Oh, and you go
just
off
randomly.
So
you're just standing there randomly tripping people.
Oh man, this is the
New York.
The Glee reboot we didn't know we needed. And also don't want.
All right, so Lisa.
Yeah, I was saying, Lisa, who else as an actress do you think could pull this? Yeah, I derailed your original question. Sorry.
Jeez, Nate.
I have to put you on the spot again.
Oh gosh, I don't know. She
Amy
did such
Poehler
a good job.
Is the Invisible Woman.
No, I don't
Meryl
know.
Streep, the invisible grandmother.
What is it for?
I mean, Meryl Streep can play any character, so yeah.
Meryl Streep could play Batman. It'd be a perfect casting.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. What about like a Cate Blanchett as the Invisible Woman?
I don't know. Could
yeah.
What about Natalie Portman?
I haven't seen her.
Probably could. I feel this is.
What about Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Oh God.
No. I don't. Not now. Jennifer Love Hewitt in her prime, maybe.
She went right from the Ghost Whisperer, right? It's invisible to invisible. It's perfect transition. Just right into it. She's still acting, I'm assuming. I'm assuming Mitch knows all her credits, so we can. But
it's. I don't want to validate you, but she is a 911. But that
what is 911? Reno 911?
No, there's a TV show called 911.
Yeah,
it's one of these episodic. It doesn't matter. Lisa,
you audibly $30. He's paying $30 a month just to get whatever shady channel that is that has 911 on it. Probably. I check your cable bill on that.
I don't. It is on regular TV, but I don't watch it. Look, let's move on. Lisa,
just
you
keep
audibly
digging yourself deeper.
You audibly gasped at the restaurant scene.
Oh, what a scene! Wow!
Wow. Hand over mouth, shot up, gasped at this scene. I mean, talk me through it because
could you
it is
not?
Yeah, it is intense.
Yeah.
How can you not? And with most of the stuff that happens in this movie, it's split second. It's you blink and you miss it. Mm-hmm. Because I blinked and I missed it.
Oh, okay.
All of a sudden,
that'll do it.
All of a sudden, her sister's throat is cut and she's bleeding out. And I'm like, rewind it again. It's just the knife and then whoosh. And then it's crazy. Nate, did they talk about how they did that scene? Because that was really well done too.
On that scene, I don't know if they went into super huge detail about how they did it, but in that same featurette I watched, they had a prosthetic neck for when another throat slashing occurs.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming they did the same thing. But yeah, I mean, prosthetics, and they used it was no CGI for that part. It was all fake blood and all that stuff. And this movie is interesting because it does have CGI, obviously, like the knife, going whatever. It was clearly digitally altered, right? Mm-hmm. So that was no one. But the mixture of the digital and the practical in this, I think works really well.
Let me ask you this though: where was the knife? Because that's the knife that he brings from the house, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So where did he hide it until he can't just floating knives coming through the restaurant?
Yeah,
he had to have put it somewhere.
It's like The Godfather, where he plants the knife in the bathroom beforehand or something.
Right? I don't know. I didn't think about that till right now.
Who's really
even
looking?
In the kitchen scene, he takes the knife in the kitchen scene, and you don't see it floating away. So I don't know where it went.
It's you got to be comfortable when you're Invisible Man. You got to have pockets. Right. And
I guess so.
you gotta have a couple, is that
he had an invisible satchel or something?
An invisible cargo pant.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that scene is shocking. Because it's at that point, I mean, horrible stuff has happened. You don't know how she's gonna get out of this. It is at that point though, her sister's dead, the knife is in her hand that you're like, I really don't know how you're going to get out of this. This is really bad.
Well, she's about to get her sister back on her side, right? And they're having a good talk. And then at the absolute worst time, the throat slit. This reminded me of Mitch. It reminded me of that movie Hosts that we watched last year, where the mom, has that whole talk about how she's finally cancer free, and then she gets murdered. This kind of had a feeling similar to that, where it's like,
bit.
hey, they're actually reconnecting, and you can see the sister's like face softening. And she's like, I have proof, and she's like, okay, I'm willing to hear you out. Oh, my throat's slit, I'm dying. And then the knife goes directly in your hand. I don't know why her hand was open to catch the knife.
Well, I think he
propped with his other hand.
He grabbed left hand, slice, boom. Done.
Okay. Well then, I mean, that's flawless execution. Yeah, it was good.
It happens in such a swift movement that it's like ridiculous.
Yeah. It's good. Although, in real life, like the dude's wearing like one of those like stupid, like full green suits. So there's just when they're filming it, they're just such.
Yes.
Kudos to them for keeping a straight face. I don't know that I could. If some dude was just in like a green, like chroma key suit doing this crap.
Well, that was one of the things, was like Elizabeth Moss in this movie is just like emoting to no one. Like the whole movie, there's nobody there. There's a couple scenes obviously with the green stunt person, but essentially she's in there. I guess they called in the Oliver Jackson Cohen guy on a couple scenes just to kind of be there. Even though he's off camera, it would make sense for her to get into it. But in general, she's just by herself, just like reacting to things, which is crazy. That's why she's a very good actress.
The restaurant scene is just it's such. I mean, it's the peak moment in this movie, right? Like, because after that, even when she goes into the mental asylum or whatever, and she finds out that she's pregnant, which. I think Lisa called that as soon as the doctor's like, "Oh, hey, can we talk?" Like early in the movie, she's like, "Oh, she's pregnant."
Every woman who's like, "Hey, I have something to tell you, but we probably shouldn't talk about it over the phone." I was like, "She's pregnant."
Yeah.
I got something to tell you. My daughter's selling Girl Scout cookies. And,
I mean, these security officers are just not equipped to deal with this dude flickering. Like, it
one is.
Looks like a villain from Metal Gear Solid.
It does. Nice. Nice.
So yes, I mean, she escapes. She goes to protect her cop friend and his daughter because he's mentioned that that's where he's going, and ends up killing him. Turns out to be the brother. Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I was like, okay, that was a nice little twist. And then there's more, because it's like, oh, they've raided the house and Adrian is alive and was quote unquote dog chained down in the basement.
Yeah, isn't that convenient?
Which leads us to sort of the final scene. And
but I mean, but you're right, Mitch. Just real quick.
Yeah.
So that scene happens, and then there's it's kind of Upgrade-esque.
Yeah,
it's like an action scene, and the action scene is probably the least good scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's not bad, but
which is weird.
After you've already had the kitchen fight scene and then the restaurant, like it just doesn't really hit in the same time. It's just kind of like, it's cool, but it kind of becomes a little. You're right. It's very Upgrade. It's kind of becomes a little more like comic book movie-esque.
A little bit, yeah. That was probably my least favorite part. And then they got him in the rain. I mean, it was there to do a couple things. I mean,
it was
an invisible person. You got to do some cool stuff.
You needed it, but yeah, it was. Maybe they could have. If there's any place they could have trimmed some fat, it was probably there.
Agreed. Yeah,
but
yeah,
it leads to the showdown, and then it's pretty quick. I almost kind of wish they didn't show you the SWAT team coming. I almost kind of wish that like she killed the brother, and then it kind of fades to black, and then it goes straight to the next scene where she's in the police station and they're talking about it, and then he tells her they found Adrian, and then it cuts to like the SWAT like finding him, kind of in slow motion. Okay. So that you have this sort of, there's this like sense of Oh,
Now
you get the Scooby-Doo sense of they pulled the mask off. Okay, it was the brother all along, and then you kind of have the release, and then it's like, wait, what? The Adrian's still alive? Oh shit! It came too quick.
No, he stayed consistent with the timeline rules. Everything happens in the time it happens. So they found him first, and then they told her that they found him.
I'm not saying they I'm not saying they do a flip. I'm just saying that she finds out when the audience finds out, because so much of the movie is you live this movie through her. That's the one time you don't, right? That's the one time it goes away from her to show the cops running into the thing to find her.
Yes.
That's the only time he breaks it. And I think to the detriment, but
okay.
That's also nitpicky.
That's a real nitpick.
I am nitpicking that, but
it's real good.
Yeah. But let's talk about the final. So she sort of breaks down and basically is going to have dinner with Adrian, which, all right.
Yo, Adrian.
Lisa,
Like
pizza. Was it pizza, burgers, or sushi?
Okay, first of all,
what do you think of the spread?
Preggers can't eat sushi. So either he didn't know she was pregnant or...
Well, you can put it in the microwave. It's fine.
Did you just say to microwave sushi?
Yes.
Why is this movie taking a toll on all my favorite foods?
Yeah, this is a food horror movie. Man.
Yeah.
Don't show her that Monty Python sketch where the guy explodes from eating so much food. Do not show that to Lisa. Because you would not care for that. That food gets done real dirty. So what did you think about this kind of, it's a showdown, like you said, Mitch. I mean, what did you think, Lisa, about this? I mean,
it's very well, I mean, the whole movie is very well done, right? But this scene in particular, because she still has that sense of, I'm pretty sure I'm not insane. But here he is telling me, it was my brother and I was manipulated. And I know there's a tiny bit of doubt in her mind, like, is it me? So her knowing all the security camera stuff and exactly where to go was great.
Yeah.
And just planning out that shot perfectly and her slashing his throat to make it look like he did it and getting revenge the same way that he killed her sister. It was well done.
I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Oh, invisible suit. Yeah, you're dead. How do I know I could do this so well? Because I saw you do it before. He does say, and it's a little subtle thing, he does say the exact same line that an invisible person had said to her. Earlier in the movie is like basically the exact line, which is like I know I'm telling you, but you can't.
It was a surprise, right?
Because he's a total because he's a total psychopath, right? He has to let her know that it was him, but then it's in a way where it's unprovable, right? And people think she's crazy if she brought it up, right? I mean, it's the way that this character was written was just so insidious. Didn't mean to make that joke.
Let me go run over to the kit real quick. Hold on.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was written so deviously that I was like, damn, this guy is just, the only way to do it is to put on the invisible suit and murder him. And then she basically is just like, yeah, that's done. I'm a badass now. I have confidence in myself. Look, I murdered this dude. I'm crushing it. And then Aldous Hodge is like, oh, should we she's like, oh, do you need backup? Blah, blah. I was like, I'm good. I'm going to kill myself. Don't worry about it. It's like, hell yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Did you cheer at the end? Did you cheer? Was there any sort of,
and that was the moment I was waiting for. It's the moment I was telling Mitch, I was like, I got to see her get revenge on him. I got to see this through. And you notice she took the suit with her.
Yes.
Yeah. You know who else noticed? The cop friend.
Interesting.
The cop friend's like, well, she'll use it. She'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
Imagine how much money an invisible woman could get for his daughter to go to a really expensive design college. Probably a lot. So and then the ending, I mean, it's amazing. It leaves it open for more stuff. You get your revenge. It's bittersweet, obviously, because her sister got massively murdered and she has gone through tons of trauma. But it seems like she's coming out of it. Is she going to use do we think she's going to use the suit for good, for evil at all? What was your thoughts on that, Lisa,
I don't know.
at the end?
I think she just wanted it with her to know that it was with her and no one else had it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you do with it? Is the temptation too great? Do you go and try to stop all the other Adrians in the world? It's
that would be my thinking, is that she then finds others in the situation that she was in and then kills them.
Yeah.
Or frames them or whatever, right? So that those people can escape. I could see that being sequel.
Or does she go and fight the mummy? The new one, the Sophia Botella mummy.
Yeah,
maybe not Tom Cruise.
Who is the Abbott and Costello of our day? Like who is the equivalent of that?
Would it be Jay and Silent Bob?
Absolutely not. I don't want to see another movie with them ever. Just be done.
No Snoogans for you? Is it
no Strikes Back the Third or what? I don't want any of that. Return of the Slackers or I don't know, whatever. No, I want like a Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Elizabeth Moss, Fey and Poehler meet the Invisible Woman. That would be awesome.
Well, make your pitch. Maybe they'll do it. But in the meantime, guys, I need to know, what is your final cut?
Final cut.
Lisa, as our unsuspecting victim, you have the honor and the privilege of rating this movie first.
Oh,
this is a hard one.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't know. It was good, but it scared the hell out of me. So what am I supposed to do with it?
My first thought on this for you, Lisa, is Method Man and Redman. How high is this rating gonna be?
Jesus. That is a reference for someone.
It's gonna be high based on the way you talked about it. It's gonna be up there. But how up there is the question.
Probably a 7 out of 10 ruined breakfasts.
Oh, only 7. Is it because of the breakfast? Did that knock it down a point?
Yes. Don't mess with my bacon.
The way you're talking about it, I feel like that might have been a point right there.
Nate, what about you?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I originally had it rated as a 7, but after watching the director commentary and seeing it again and noticing some of the subtleties that I pointed out, I'm like, oh, this. I think when we saw it in the theater, I had missed maybe a thing or two. Although this is the third time I've watched it, and yes, my mom has also watched this movie. Check that box off your list. Nate owns the Blu-ray, and my mom has seen it. What is Yahtzee for this? It's Nate has a Blu-ray. Nate's mom's seen it. A dog dies. Addicts are terrible. So this had at least 3. Yeah.
I don't know what the 5th Nate Yahtzee bingo thing is.
Get your Texas Podcast Massacre bingo card ready. It's really well done. It's actually a horror film with a good filmmaker. Using not just using jump scares. I have to do this quote. I have to say this quote. This is from the commentary. He goes, at one point, he just goes, "We're pointing the camera at nothing so much." Like, that's a quote. We're just pointing the camera at nothing all the time, and it works. And that is, to me, is an achievement. This is a very good film. Can't wait to see what he does with Wolfman. I don't know. Wolf is like kind of played out. We'll see how that works. But for now, Invisible Man, hey, he's got one good Universal one. So there you go.
Yeah, I give this 8 out of 10 mannequins as well.
Oh, nice! Wow.
Again, I think it's difficult to do a movie that is tense, keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time, both unsuspecting victim and horror fans. Because even for horror fanatics, it's still a very tense experience. And then very similar to last week's episode where we talked about Scare Me. It's interesting to see a movie that's able to really talk, like it's able to sort of frame a thing about domestic abuse and that whole horror in itself and build around that without it being too over the top, too exploitative is probably the word I want to, but it's able to kind of highlight and demonstrate all the things like gaslighting and all these other things that are kind of part of that. And at the same time, also establish an actual monster. I mean, when you see him in that suit and he's flickering and all that, I mean, it is no different than any other like Lovecraftian type of creature. And I mean, this is practically a creature feature, but with a dude, like with no actual like creatures in it, right? They were able to really skirt that line. I just, like I said, my main issues are just a little bit of things that I think they could have done. It's like you said, it's nitpicking to make it like the best, right? It could have been, but it's really good. When you're nitpicking things, that's how you know it's a good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, look, that was our review of The Invisible Man, Nate. The Visible Nate, where can they find us?
You can find us, as always, Texas Podcast Massacre at gmail.com. Send it in your emails. People have been sending it in emails being like, hey, I don't have any Apple products because I'm smart. So how do I review you guys? Go on any of your podcast players, Podcast Addict. Yeah. Just go on social media and say, hey, these guys are good.
Yeah.
And that will be good enough. Or, if you do have an Apple thing and they're amazing, because you can review us with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you would like. Salvaged. At TX Pod Massacre on Twitter, Texas Podcast Massacre everywhere else. It's January. We are catching up on our listener requested movies. So get excited for more of those. I'm pretty sure we're going to review a movie that someone picked that's not the movie they wanted, but they're going to get it anyway. So we got some surprises in store, but we're going to catch up on those and then have some really good theme months for this year. I have a lot of ideas for theme months.
Oh,
Mitch.
yeah. And we've got some community inspired theme months as well that we might be bringing out. So if you have a theme month you'd like to pitch our way,
Lisa, you want to pitch a theme month?
I'll think on it.
Yeah, everyone. We should probably give Lisa some opportunities to maybe watch movies that she does not hate.
Oh,
there you go. Pick movies about, fun childhood memories. And then like The Lodge, Good Night Mommy.
Right.
Yeah, I can turn anything bad. But, maybe we could do that. But yeah, we have a lot of good things coming up this year. I'm happy to be back. And this year can't be any worse than 2020. So, I mean, it should be all gravy at this point.
I don't want to put any of that out in the universe. So whatever. Okay. Sure. All right. Well, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. From all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, thank you so much. And just keep telling yourself, it's only a movie. Good night.